And good afternoon, Buffaloes Nation. It is currently a mid-afternoon here, as this podcast airing on this Wednesday at noon, wherever you may be joining us from. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Brought to you by our main sponsors in Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Terrico, goaltenders, elite prospects, as well as Movement Fitness and Performance. We're also brought to you by Pilot Mountain sponsors and partners, and hey, we're one of their partners too, so I guess we're also uh, supporting ourselves here on the network for this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. But lots to get into today. Can't wait to do so, as we'll be talking to Gordie Tumilson about the past weekend of games and upcoming weekend of games for the teams in the academy. Also going to be joined by three U18 Male Prep Buffaloes, head coach and Anthony Florentino, as well as two of their players in Hector Kapitonov and Nolan Harding. But to start off by showing you the upcoming games for the academy this upcoming weekend. The U15s are going to be in action tonight against RHA down in Blackjack Stewart Arena, and they go over to the Rink Training Center in Oak Bluff, Manitoba for a Saturday matchup. As for the U17s, they're going to be traveling to Saskatoon to battle against Indigenous Sports Academy. Male U18s, they'll be at home for the first time this season. We'll get into more of that coming up here. And as for the U18 female prep Buffaloes, they're going to be heading to Oak Bluff, Manitoba to battle RHA this Friday at 4 p.m. But to join us now to talk about all of this and the past weekend of matchups is Gordie Tumilson. So enjoy this one, Buffaloes fan. Can't wait for you to all hear the conversation me and Gordie had this week on this edition of the Buffaloes podcast for episode 6 in season 3. Gordie Tumilson joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Gordie, we start off with the U18 male Buffaloes who went down into Delta, BC and came away with a positive record throughout the weekend. Take us through what was a Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada with a lot of fun involved with the U18s.
Absolutely. The boys did a great job. Normally we go to BC and get pummeled somehow. The teams are pretty good out there, but we managed to win two out of three and played really well in the loss to Delta. So being Wenatchee and Coeur d'Alene, that's great stuff for our guys. And they lost their first game to Delta, but it was a close game, and typically that's not the way it's usually. So somehow Anthony and Coach Mason have got their team going pretty well now, and maybe it's a competition, but at the end of the day, when you're winning and you're winning decisively against teams that are supposed to be at least equal or close to it, well, that's great news. So. They've done something right. This is a team that did not have an exhibition game and just went into last weekend, played two games, split, and then they won two out of three in BC. And that's a long trip for those kids. You know, it's 2 days on the bus, and they're studying and they're sleeping and they're watching. I don't know what the heck they do on the bus, but because I don't get on the bus, I was on the bus for a long time as a junior hockey guy and all that stuff. So the bus is not my friend. And of course it's different today because they got devices and they got other things going on. But good on those guys to get their legs going and not be affected at all and come away with two wins on the weekend. That's great stuff.
You know, you had brought up, and we've talked about it so much, but this team having no exhibition games heading into their regular season, it's been great to see them bounce back too from losses and coming away with victories every single time. Heading back to the October
Yep.
3rd matchup against Prairie, losing 6-0, and then very next day in Wilcox winning 5-2. This is a program that's gotten better and better since its arrival in Pilot Mountain. It's seen better results throughout time. So, given this type of start, this type of group they have, is there probably more optimism than ever with this program heading forward into the latter half of the season coming up?
Sure, absolutely. When you win, you know, you've got three wins and a couple of losses. Now, typically, like no, in previous years, we would have four losses and maybe a win. Now we've got three wins and two losses, so that's way better. Way better for the. I mean, they're human beings, they're players. They just confidence is so important to everybody that plays sports, and There's no difference here. It's good for the coaches. It's easier to coach when your team is happy and they're they're giving it all and some of the good things are happening. So yeah, I mean we were going to play some tougher teams down the road a little bit, and that's okay. But we've got some wins. We know how to win and as a group. I mean they know how to win maybe back home where they came from, but now they're here with 19 other people that they don't know these players, and now they're starting to win some games. So boy, it just makes a huge difference for the psyche. I know on goalies, it sure makes a difference when you're not hanging your head and you don't have to make every save just to keep the game close. You can allow a bad one here and there and not lose the hockey game. So good on the team to be as good as they are right now and beating the teams that they're playing against.
Yeah, and of course, now they get rewarded with some home cooking. I
Yeah.
mean, this was already decided, but 10 straight home matchups coming up for this Buffalo squad after playing their first 5 games of the season on the road in places like Saskatchewan, most recently Delta, British Columbia. As for the U15s, Gordie, they were in action this past weekend against Calgary International Hockey Academy. Calgary International Hockey Academy came down to Pilot Mountain for both of the games, and there was some neat stuff going on regarding some sponsorships from throughout Pilot Mound in attendance to that game. Can you take us through the eventful weekend that was for this U15 squad at home?
Yeah, I'll talk about the games first. And folks got to remember, we lost two. That's to the CIHA team, that Calgary International team. Calgary International team could play in the NHL, I think. If you could sort of raise their ages up, they're a really good team. And our guys, we got sort of pummeled last weekend or the week, whenever we played them earlier, and kind of, oh, this is what this is all. We had played some AAA teams from Manitoba, kind of beat them a little bit, some of our rural teams. Kids were feeling pretty good about themselves and found out, oops, the CSSHL is a different place in terms of U15 hockey. And they got put down pretty badly. But this past weekend, good on the kids to rebound. We didn't score many goals out west when we played there, but we got I think 2 and 3. We got 5 goals on the weekend, or seven. I mean 5 or 7. I don't remember which one it was, but we got a few. We didn't give up nearly as many. We were a lot closer. I think we were beaten by 4 goals each game rather than by a lot more. So good on our guys to figure it out. You know that this is going to be harder, tougher hockey. You can't just lollygag around. You got to play hard every shift. The goalies have got to be better, and everybody was better. The coaching staff, Brad and Colin do a great job on that team, and good on them to bring the level up and not be, beaten down by, being beaten badly the weekend prior. So good on our team to show up. We played at home. That's always a benefit to play better against really tough teams in our home rink, and good on our kids to step up. That only bodes well for the future for this team. So on the playing side, that's really neat. I don't know if you want to comment on that, Graham, before I get into the sponsorship.
Yeah, for sure. And just taking a look at it, I mean, just really nice to see the improvements. This is a U15 squad that didn't score a single goal in their
Yeah.
opening weekend, and they showcased that offense can come to life if, things come together a bit. And even though they end up losing twice to Calgary International Hockey Academy, I think that Colin Fafara, Brad Platt, this coaching staff has to be really pleased with just the improvement on short notice for this team into the next weekend.
Absolutely. It was great to see. And as I said, big comeback, even though we lost the games. Yeah, the people are proud of how they did and what they did and all that good stuff. So that's great on our team to do as well as we did on that particular weekend. Now, going to the sponsorship thing. Um, we started our sponsorship program this year, and we have about 20 sponsor partners that have come aboard with us. And will tell you that the sponsors are promoting basically our community effort, not so much the academy stuff, but the actual what the academy does outside in the community, and that is not only in Pilot Mound, that is in some of the smaller rinks or other rinks in Manitou, in Crystal City, Killarney. I go, we go as far west as or east as Winkler and Morton. We do all sorts of things in the community in schools and the senior citizens homes, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of those things cost us a bit of money to rent ice halls and things. And so those are budget items that are looked after by kindly looked after by our sponsors. And this past weekend, we acknowledged and recognized a couple of our sponsors, which we're going to continue to do all through the season when the time is right. Both the Hometown View newspaper from Pilot Mount, the weekly newspaper, who kindly give us about a half a page every week. So, and that's it's a bonus for us to be that well publicized locally. Susan Pedersen from Hometown View, the owner and editor. She dropped the puck on the Friday night game, and then on Saturday, Amanda from the Pilot Mound Pharmacy dropped the puck for her company. And thank you to both of those two ladies for coming out. The team captains come to center. We have both Canada team captains come to center. They drop the puck. They get some pictures, and maybe even sometime along the way, Graeme, you can throw those pictures up. I know they're on all of the social media now, and so it's really neat to have those kinds of people and to recognize their contribution to our academy and to the entire community because it's that's what the benefit goes to. So good on us to do that. Good on them to be there, and lots of fun to be had and lots of recognition to be had as well.
Yeah, and of course, I had a chance to see some of those pictures, which of course we will be showcasing a bit later
Great.
on in this interview, Gordie, but or in this episode of the Buffaloes podcast. But yeah, great to see the sponsors, not only hearing about them being recognized, but hearing about their efforts from, surrounding cities, different places throughout this province. Diving more into that before we get into the other two programs, like
Mhm.
we'll talk about coming up, but giving out Pilot Mound, one of the biggest things is the family aspect of it.
Mm.
You know, being able to be so involved in the community. How huge is that to go out to all of these places truly to spread the word about this academy to different communities and locals from places?
Well, the energy the players bring is humongous. Kids are they're just they're just all piss and vinegar. Young people have just got and they're and for a lot of them, it's the first time they've kind of gone out and been involved in big time community efforts. So it's good on both sides. The people who get the energy from our players and our organization, of course, our benefits there. But our players, I think, get more out of it than the people who we give it to. And it's because they see that it's good to do these things. People appreciate nice. We're living in a difficult time in the world these days, as we all know. And when nice things happen, boy, it's just better. It's just heartwarming. And so from both sides of that coin, it's a really good thing. And I know the players they like doing they enjoy doing these things. They've got time to do these things. They're busy people, but they have time, they have energy, and they mature as human beings and as people, seeing what good does in the community, rather than just beating up on each other, whatever, getting angry about whatever, et cetera, et cetera. So good on our program to do that. Lucky for both the players and for the recipients to be involved in these activities. It's really good.
Yeah, and of course we had a chance to see that last year and in previous seasons. For example, one aspect, helping out and playing cards with some old folks in a old folks home last year. That was awesome to see. But yeah, Gordy, you know what else is awesome to see is this U17 program coming away with a win in their only game this past Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada, taking down Edge 5-3. Rick McConnell's group must be feeling good heading into upcoming games as the wins, continue to pile up for them here recently. Take us through that solid 60-minute effort that we saw from the Buffaloes.
Exactly. 60 minutes. That's the name of the game. They beating Edge is is a feat because Edge being in Calgary, there's a million two in population, a lot of people, a lot of kids, a lot of surrounding area. They're very popular in southern Alberta as CIHA is and whatnot. And so at the end of the day, for us to be able to beat those guys at any time is a bonus. And the Edge kids had to come through and play some other teams. So I think it was their second game on the weekend. But they're all in good shape and they're all pretty good hockey players. So to beat Edge anytime is good. And our guys seem to be on a good path right off the bat here. So are you 18 boys? Are you 17 boys seem to be on a pretty nice path. The U15s are gaining some momentum in that direction. The girls have yet to kind of come together on that, but we're looking forward to them getting better as well. But good on the U17s to play one game at home and win. Nice job, guys.
Yeah, of course, like Gordie just said, playing at Blackjack Stewart Arena. And yeah, being able to put up five against a team like Edge, a team like you said, strong, like coming in playing only their first game. They play their second game of the weekend. Of course, maybe they're not exactly on the top of their game, but what does that say about this group that they're able to see some high volume in the scoring category against such a prolific program?
Well, I think our guys are more hardworking than they are a huge group of talented goal scorers. I don't think we've got anybody on there that's got a lot of points. Maybe one or two that's got a few extra. But the hard work, the high guy in the slot. Everybody's playing in a position. They know where each other are already. It's early in the season. We're kind of getting good at that stuff. Those are bonuses. And you win hockey games a lot of different ways, and one of them is hard work, being in the right place, and the other team breaks down just a little bit. Your hard work breaks the other team down. You score goals. You play strong defensively. Don't give up a lot of plays. They try to pinch at the blue line. Bingo. You got a breakaway or 2-on-1. Those are all things that just makes up the game. And we're starting to do that early in the season. We're not waiting until January. That's so nice to see for a change. We're not the kids have come together pretty quickly, and that partly because we have some returning kids, and partly because we've got kids that are pretty good coming out of our U15 program.
Yeah.
Yuki Kito played a pretty big role in that game, the goalie. And so good on Yuki to do what he did and getting a lot of help, obviously, from everybody else. But the kids coming up, so the program helps develop helps the program move along, and that's what we've been planning to do all the way along and starting to come to fruition. So good on our academy and the thought process to put it together.
And of course, this team in particular, they'll be going up against a hockey academy team that they're pretty familiar with. They've been familiarized with since they've come into the CSSHL and Indigenous Sports Academy coming up
Yep.
in Saskatoon on the 18th and 19th this upcoming weekend. But Gordie, as for U18 female buffs, they played one game where we're not going to talk about the game necessarily, but in terms of, I guess, what's the focus moving forward? A few tough wins in a row for the Buffaloes. They play another strong program in RHA Winnipeg coming up. What would you say is probably going to be the mindset moving forward for a U18 female group that, they've faced some adversity already this season?
Sure, they've gotten blown away a few times, and they've got to stop that. And how do you stop that? Well, you more due diligence, better skills. So they're working on those things all the time. Uh, Balmoral Hall is a powerhouse team. They're just really. They won the championship last year, and they're better this year. So get out of the way of Balmoral Hall if you can. And fortunately or unfortunately, they're 2 hours away. They're our closest competition, along with the rink. And so here we go. You're going to play them more often just because of convenience. And again, that's unfortunate for our team. But at the end of the day, you got to play the games. You got to learn to be better. You learn from losing. You don't learn as much from winning. You should learn from winning. But because you're so happy you won, it doesn't sink in as easy because you're doing the right things, I guess. But from losing, you do so maybe better defensively in both ends of the rink. Better coverage. Maybe we got to change to that. What did we have there? 1-2-2 last year, or the trap when we beat Thunder Bay 4 times in a row after losing to Thunder Bay 4 times in a row. This girls' team last year. So maybe they got to go back to that. I don't know. That's the coach's job, not mine.
Yeah.
but we got to do something to kind of figure out how to slow the other team's scoring and good scoring chances because they get a lot of shots and too many high quality shots. Our goalies are pretty good, and but the other team's just getting too many chances. So we've got to be better, sort of defensively. And once we figure that out, then the breaks go the other way. So it's a work in progress, and our recruitment guys have got to do a better job, maybe in the as we go along, and help our coaches find a few players that we haven't been able to get so far.
Yeah, and I mean, you brought up how you usually learn more from losing compared to winning, even though you learn a lot both ways. But a team in Pilot Mountain who's going to be coming up against some really good competition in these next few weeks. RHA Winnipeg on the 17th, so this Friday coming up, and then a Friday after, a week later, they're going up against Northern Alberta Extremes. So, given that, some quality opponents to finish off this month, is this team maybe looking to take it as like a blessing in disguise, knowing that maybe the competition may get easier as the season goes along, and they just got to get through this stretch of really tough teams to play against.
Yeah, yeah, of course. That's the great. And the I think forgetting the wins and the losses part, it's the players getting better. And our U18 female program is not, other than the first 2 years, we were pretty good. We've kind of fallen off the last little while for a lot of reasons. And not the girls' fault, by the way. It's certainly not the players' fault that they're doing the best they can. They're learning. But the good news is that our players do learn, our players do get better, and they do end up going to college. They get selected because they learn all of the game. They're not just playing on their own skill and their hockey IQ. They've had to learn a lot. So that's maybe why we're a little bit behind because some of the kids, aren't quite as good, but they get better individually. That doesn't always equate to wins and losses. Equates to better, but it certainly helps them get through difficult times. And then all of a sudden they're in a college in the States and they're a really good player on that team because it's a better team. So and that's the goal. Whether or not anybody realizes that it's not about teams when no team gets drafted completely up to the next level. It's one player at a time at different places. So that's what we work on. Despite winning and losing, we work on that aspect of the game, mostly making our players better.
Yeah, and of course there are a few bright spots that stand out on this year's team too, right? Like the goaltending solid, Sadie Swanton getting a U18 Team Manitoba selection for the
Yep,
upcoming
yep.
Women's Nationals, and we had a chance to see this U18 female team too down at Stride Place in Portage Prairie before the season started, and they showcased some good things. So yeah, I think. Like you said, the throwaway worrying about the wins and losses and just worry about just improving within yourselves and trying to be the best hockey players that they can
Absolutely.
moving
Yep,
forward.
yep,
RHA Winnipeg coming up on the 17th. That's going to be in Winnipeg. A few other road matchups to end off this season as they'll be going to Alberta near the end of the month. And then a lot of home games coming up for this team. In fact, all of November, this Buffaloes team will be playing
yep.
at home. How huge is that, Gordon, to see this amount of home games, to see the length of the home stands for a few of these academies coming up?
Well, this starts to look like baseball, where they have a 2 week homestand. And they play every day in baseball, except one day a week they get off. And it's pro baseball anyway. So at the end of the day, it's like that, and that's really good for the kids. This team, particularly the girls team, they've been away like all of September and October. It's just going here, going there, the odd game at home. But they've been all over the place. So nice for them to actually settle down and have a moment at home. That should help. The other teams
Yeah.
coming off the bus. It should help us get better at home. So it is huge from a rest standpoint. From a school standpoint, everything, you get your schooling in, and sometimes a little bit of a panic on the school side because they're not getting as much time to study, yada yada. So it's not a bad thing at all. And the kids are, you get a little beat up once in a while physically, just because it's hockey. No head hockey in girls is tougher than I think head hockey in boys sometimes.
Yeah, and now that you actually brought it up, Gordy, yeah, their first 18 games of the season are all going to be on the road, and then they finally touch down Blackjack Stewart Arena for some
Yeah.
games coming up on the 8th. Anything else you want to add here, Gordy, or are we going to see you in about a week from now to do this again?
Yeah, no, this has been great. Thank you to for you to throwing our sponsors on your show, promoting those people, and just being who you are, Graham. Thanks very much. We look forward to continuing this next week as well.
Appreciate it, Gordy. Can't wait to talk more Buffaloes with you again next week as well.
Okay.
And Gordie Tumilson joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast in season 3, episode 6, brought to you by the sponsors and partners of Pilot Mound Hockey Academy, as well as Elite Prospects, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Terrico, Movement, Fitness and Performance, and Goaltenders. And as we take a look at the upcoming matchups again, as me and Gordy really just talked about the past weekend of action, but yeah, tonight it's U15s at home, Blackjack Stewart Arena to take on RHA Winnipeg. They'll be on the road for a Saturday afternoon matchup against the very same program. All those games can be seen on Flow Sports, on Flow Hockey. Male U17s go down to Saskatoon, looking to continue on the wave they've been on. Quite a bit of success to start off this season. Same with the male U18s. 2-1 this past weekend. They go up against 3 quality opponents. And yeah, we'll get to hear from their bench boss and Anthony Florentino in just a little bit here, as well as 2 of their players in terms of the mindset heading into this weekend and much more against those opponents. Of course, the U18 prep squad at home for the first time this season. And as for the female U18s, they take a trip out to Oak Bluff, Manitoba to the Rink Training Center this Friday at 4 p.m. to take on RHA Winnipeg. As Gordy mentioned, 2 sponsors ended up dropping the puck this past weekend in Pilot Mound, Manitoba. As we'll make sure we got the right sponsors in place here. So this is from the Hometown View newspaper. This was someone from their company dropping the puck, and then from Pilot Mountain Pharmacy. They had a member drop the puck in that game between the Buffaloes and Calgary International Hockey Academy. Yeah, be sure to check out PM Buffaloes. Check out these posts as well as more from around the academy. But speaking of the U18 Male Prep Buffaloes, I had a chance to be joined in an interview I did last night with their head coach Anthony Florentino, a newcomer for it on this team in Nolan Harding, as well as another newcomer from Netherlands in Hector Kapitanov. And you know what else is pretty crazy about this U18 squad? With no games or exhibition games heading into the regular season, pretty much a whole new roster compared to last year. Pretty impressive given that they've been able to get out to the start they've been able to so far this season. You'll hear more from the U18s coming up next on this edition of the Buffaloes podcast for season 3, episode 6. Anthony Florentino, Hector Kapitanov, and Nolan Harding join the show next. Well, I got 3 members from the Pilot Mound Hockey Academy Buffaloes U18 Male Prep Program. Head coach Anthony Florentino, as well as a newcomer to the squad, 2 newcomers, and Nolan Harding, as well as just taking a look at it here. Just taking a look at your roster. Hector Kapitanov. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining me, fellas. I'll start off with this past weekend. Very successful for this team, going 2-1, bouncing back from that opening game loss. Anthony, what was that like to see this team be able to put up this type of effort, this type of results to come away with 2 wins out of 3 games this past weekend?
Yeah, I think it's a good test. It shows resilience. First game didn't go our way, but to bounce back the way we did against Wenatchee, and then a very good Coeur d'Alene team. As a coach, it's great to see that resilience and mental toughness within the group, especially after 25 hours on a bus. So yeah, really proud of them. they earned both the wins, and excited to see what's next.
Yeah, and of course, Nolan and Hector, you both had a chance to play this past weekend in those games. How'd the legs feel as, the weekend got going? Like Anthony said, pretty long bus ride down there.
Yeah, it was a long bus ride, but it was a lot of fun with all the guys. But besides that, you gotta keep pushing. And it was a really good Flo said, it was the first game didn't go as planned, but then play went at you, you bounced back there, and then against that good Coeur d'Alene team, we really set the tone there. So we set a high standard after beating them. That was a really good game. That the atmosphere of the game, it felt like a playoff game almost too. So that was almost a nicer feeling too. So it was good to come out with at least 2 wins.
Yeah, we were all excited to play in the showcase. So it was a long bus ride, but we put up with it and we battled through it for 3 games. We had like the other two said, we had a tough first game, but it didn't stop us. So we got to rest, we reset, and the next 2 games we came out buzzing. So yeah.
Well, for you, Hector, you had quite a long ways down on your trip to Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy this year. You're from Roermond, Limburg, Netherlands. Gotta ask you, how the heck did you figure out that Pilot Mountain was a place? And I guess why did you end up choosing Pilot Mountain as that next place to pursue your next steps here in hockey?
Well, it's always like everybody's dream in Europe, who plays in Europe, to come to North America and show their talents over here. So I did research on which team to go to, and I came to the conclusion that Pilot Mountain would be the best fit for me. I love the small town atmosphere, and yeah, the team is great. So that's why I chose to come over here.
Right on, right on. And I mean, Nolan, you're from, of course, Winnipeg, Manitoba. What's that been like getting a chance to know Hector and get to, I guess, learn about some different cultures this year so far?
Coming into Pilot Mound, I was a little bit like iffy, thinking like maybe the boys just kind of a newcomer here, didn't really know anyone. Uh, kind of Hector was really the one that kind of I clicked with almost instantly. I think we've almost been together every second of every day and stuff, and we're just always having a good time, and we're always talking about how what was it the other day? We were talking about how here in Netherlands he's always on his e-scooter and stuff, hey?
Yeah.
He's always driving there. So we were saying all that. And then yeah, I think it's really the team's really come closer. I don't think I've ever come this close this fast with a group of guys. So that's honestly that's the best part of this. It's just with all the guys here, it's a great part of it. So yeah.
Right on, right on. And before I throw a question over to Anthony here, for you, Hector, how have you been able to settle in so far? Have you felt homesick at points? I assume so, given that you're coming from so far away.
Yeah, of course, the culture difference, it's big. Like people do almost everything is different here than back home. So at the start, of course, I was homesick. I miss my friends and my family, but the boys here have been great. They welcome me with open arms. So I'm forever thankful for that. And yeah, the team is great. It's nice to be here, and yeah, I like it until now.
Oh, right on. And that's great to hear, man. And hopefully it only gets better. And Anthony, I mean, just being able to hear this from two of your players, we were speaking before we went on air, starting this interview, and you were just talking about how great of a group this is this year. A team that had no exhibition games heading into their first regular season game. What's it been like for yourself from a coaching perspective, getting to know this year's Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy Buffaloes?
It's been enjoyable. Um, they make it worth going to the rink every day. We joke around, but they know when it's time to work. And it's quite impressive to see how quick they've come as close as they have. Like you said, Cappy's from the Netherlands, and um, Hardo's from Winnipeg, and they're both brutal at karaoke. So that's probably why they're such good buddies. But no, it's really awesome to see because guys are battling in practice, but as soon as the rep is over, you know they're back in line, goofing off together, and that's what you need as a team because if you can't go to war with the guy with you on the ice at the same time in the same jersey, you're not going to be able to go to war, against another guy. So the fact that they can go against each other the way they do in practice, it's great to see because it translates into the way they compete in the games. And yeah, they're just a good group, couple characters for sure, a lot of different personalities, but um, they all accept each other no matter what personality that is.
Oh, right on. And you love to hear that. And one of the keys to the DNA of a championship team is that brotherhood, like you spoke about there, Anthony. But look at that, Coach Flo. I'm kind of ragging on you both about the karaoke. What song do you guys play? I guess was there karaoke activities going on the bus, I assume, to Delta or another time? You just talked about resilience, Anthony, being able to see this team come away with a 10-2 victory after losing in a close game, considering the score and considering the opponent, how good they are in Delta, being able to go out and beat a quality program in Wenatchee 10-2, and then following up with that victory against Coeur d'Alene Hockey Academy. Speak about, where you thought that this team was able to, I guess, excel the most in those victories.
Honestly, the most impressive one was the Coeur d'Alene one. And I say that because it was their third game in 3 days, and it's easy to get complacent. So you win a game 10-2. Um, it's easy to be fat and happy going to the rink, but um, they were dialed in, and Coeur d'Alene is a very good team this year, and it was a good battle, and that one is way more impressive to me than the Wenatchee one because it's easy to get lit up in the locker room and then be ready for the next game, but it's hard not to get complacent. So to play your third game in 3 days against a very good hockey team and come out on top and play the way they did, that was the most rewarding thing.
And I mean, probably even more impressive considering that, I mean, the lack of exhibition games. Of course, a lot of practices, but like you told me, no actual returnees from last year's squad. Of course, players that have played at lower age groups in the academy have joined this year's team in terms of one in particular in Cole Landerville. But just to see it coming together in that way and to see that type of response makes that even more special, I assume, here early in the year.
Yeah, we have great leadership and, we have four captains, but everyone kind of pulls their own weight in the leadership role, one way or the other. Um, Landy's been great as a younger guy, but we also have another 2010 defenseman that, he's logging a lot of minutes for us right now. And for him to step up and play those minutes is great to see. But I think, top to bottom, um, our players that moved up from the U17 team have set the standard for the culture that we all want with the way they compete and their work ethic, um, along with a lot of our new guys. Basically, everyone is kind of built from the same cloth when it comes to that compete or, um, you know, just the desire to get better and, you know, to win and basically change the image of Pilot Mountain.
Right. And program that's been getting better and better as the years have gone along, especially since you and your coaching staff have taken over, Anthony. For you two, Nolan and Hector, haven't had a chance to play any home games at Pilot Mountain yet. It's all been road games so far, going out to Saskatchewan, the week before last weekend, of course, going out to Delta, British Columbia. What's that been like getting the bond that way and seeing the sights you guys have seen so far, just outside of hockey?
I think the road trip from Calgary to Vancouver had to have been one of the nicest road trips I've ever seen with like all the mountains and all the sightings and all that. That was definitely an experience I never got to experience yet. So that was really nice seeing and stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for the home games. I know we have Monday we have a good game versus CIHA, and there's a couple of schools coming too, so gonna have a good student section there too. So I'm pretty pumped up for that one.
Oh, no doubt. For you, Hector, what's that been like so far getting on the road and seeing different parts of this country outside of Pilot Mountain?
Yeah, I haven't had that long bus trips before I came here, so it's definitely a bit different. And like Nolan said, the bus trip from Calgary to British Columbia, it was so beautiful. We went through the mountains, and yeah, I definitely had to take some pictures. It was one of the most beautiful things I ever seen. Like it introduced me to Canada. I got to see some of Canada, and yeah, I like it. It's yeah, something new from back home.
Oh, awesome, and always a great experience in life being able to go to different places if you're able to, and to be able to experience different cultures. And of course, now being here in Canada and, continuing to pursue your dream of advancing your career in the world of hockey. How has the academy lifestyle overall been so far, being able to handle the practices, the school, and everything that comes with it so far for you two?
I think it's definitely not the typical high school reality, but I think me and Hector here, we're both love it as so much. Like hockey's been the dream. Like just you've loved hockey since we were such like just children and stuff, and it's been really good. Like waking up early, getting that workout in, like it's much needed, and then you go to school and get your classes over with, and then you go to the rink, and it's just every day. It's just exciting to go to practice, like with all your buddies. It's just a family at this point too, so it makes everything 10 times better. So it's really good. It's you got to balance a lot, but in the end, it's all worth it.
Yeah, you get a lot thrown at you, but the thing is, it's so nice because you get to experience it with all your friends, and it's like you're not alone. You know, you have your whole team beside you that protect your back. So yeah, it's a lot of things that like practice, early workouts, school, but it's nice to do it with the people you like beside you. So it's great.
Oh, for sure, and definitely quite a bit thrown at you at first, but it'll get easier as the year goes along, and great you're able to do it with the brothers, the friends that you've made so far this year for both of you two. Anthony, this team has a chance to have a lot of opportunity to play at home coming up next. The next, handful of games are going to be at Blackjack Stewart Arena. How huge is that, you feel like, given that, there's been such a long distance in terms of travel to start off this year, getting to finally settle in at good old Blackjack Stewart Arena for the next little bit here?
It's exciting for him. It's obviously it's nice not having to travel and get to sleep in your own bed and eat actual food um, in that month span that we're home. But um, I think it's good for them to get that experience too and or see how many people actually have their backs. And it's not just kids from school that are coming to the game. It's basically every local majority of the time. Um, So I'm excited for them to, get to experience that. And I'm excited not to have to ride the bus and be in a hotel and all that stuff because it does hinder preparation just a bit with video and proper rest and nutrition, things like that. So overall, um, I'm excited to see what they do, being able to be comfortable. Obviously, the excitement, the nerves, and all those things will have to be managed. But overall, um, it's always nice playing in your home barn.
No doubt about it, especially with how big the crowds can get down in Pilot Mound as well. Nolan, Hector, Pilot Mound, Manitoba. For those that'll be in person, will have a first chance to see you two in game action along with the rest of the team at home coming up this weekend. Haven't even asked you two this yet, but for you, Nolan and Hector, how would you describe your playing styles for anyone that hasn't watched you, what they can expect to see from your two's game?
For me, I think I'm kind of like a two-way forward. I can play both in the offensive and defensive zone, and I can be reliable out there with 5 seconds left in third period, and we're up 3-2, and someone's got to win a draw. I think you can put me out there and trust me, and just a reliable, all-around good player.
Right on. For you, Hector?
Yeah, I feel like I'm more of a playmaker type of guy. So I always try to find my teammates with like seam passes, And yeah, I'll try to feed my teammates, and when needed, I can put a puck in the net myself. And I feel like I'm not the biggest guy, but I try to play like I'm big. So I still try to hit, even though I'm not maybe not the biggest or the strongest, but I still play the body, and I try to do the best I can defensively, block shots, everything that's needed for the team's success.
Right on. And yeah, I mean, two pretty good player types to have on your squad when you take a look at the level, especially U18 and the amount of size and speed and just skill that's in that division. And of course, going to see a lot of that coming up this weekend. Game on Friday, a game on Saturday, and a game on Monday. South Alberta Hockey Academy on Friday, Ed School on Saturday, and then CIHA coming up on Monday afternoon at noon. Nolan and Hector, for you two, you spoke about the excitement of being able to play at home. How does it feel to know that we're just days away from that moment finally happening?
No, it feels good. I haven't seen my family in a bit, and my mom let me know that they're coming down to watch. So it's definitely a little bit more special to me that my family gets to come watch me here. So I'm looking really forward to it.
Yeah, of course, it's a home game, so we of course want to win for our home fans, and we're excited to show what we can do to our city and to everybody who has our back. So excited to play and hopefully win the games.
Right on. And yeah, I mean, a lot of pride going to be on display this upcoming weekend in Pilot Mountain, that's for sure. Anthony, from a coaching perspective, three quality programs coming up. What type of prep, I guess, is the coaching staff kind of looking at going through to get ready and get this team prepared for the upcoming weekend?
Just focus on us. Make some adjustments from the past weekend. Um, I honestly, it's a learning experience from a coaching perspective on kind of what makes your team tick. And one of the focuses on or going into Wenatchee was to focus on us. We were doing video for other teams and realized that making the adjustments within our room was way more beneficial. So, um, we're going to make the adjustments that we need to improve on from this past weekend. A couple good practices coming up. We had honestly, we got back at 4 a.m. last night and they
Yeah.
were up for school so we could practice. And the energy, the tempo, the pace of practice was, it took me by surprise. So that's the type of group they are. And, we just focus on us because at the end of the day, it's what we do. And, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and just shows that much more confidence in this team. And I mean, that's special, right? Getting back at 4 a.m. yesterday and then buzzing to start things off. From a player perspective, Nolan and Hector, I guess how unreal was that feeling to, be riding with the amount of sleep you had and to be right back on the ice again, prepping for the upcoming week of work?
Yeah, getting back at 4 and then having to unpack and not falling asleep till probably 4:30 and have to wake up at 9. It definitely isn't the best feeling, but you got to get it done. It's a grind here, so you got to live with it, and every day is just you're always looking to get better. So there's no days off here, so just no matter what, keep pushing.
Yeah, it was tough, of course, but we were excited to get on the ice again after 2 days of the bus. So we were excited to get a practice in again. So we pushed through the school part just so we could get on the ice. And for myself, I took the best nap possible after that. So that was
I bet, I bet. And hey, I mean, taking that into account, I think it's about time for me to let you guys go and get some sleep, get ready for the upcoming day of work. It's been great to get to know you two, Hector and Nolan. It's great to get to talk to you again, Anthony, as you joined this podcast last year for an interview. And yeah, can't wait to see how this U18 team continues to impress this upcoming weekend for the first time down in good old Blackjack Stewart Arena. Thanks for doing this, you three.
thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
And Anthony Florentino, along with Hector Kapitonov and as well as Nolan Harding joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Great to get to know Hector, him coming from a long ways away to Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, as he's, of course, from the Netherlands. It's great that he's been able to bond so far with Nolan especially, and all of the rest of the U18 Male Prep Buffaloes, who, into another year in the program, another year of Anthony Florentino and his coaching staff at the helm. It's great to see, or hear about the energy that team had, riding on not much sleep and getting back on the ice right away to get ready to work this week, or this weekend coming up, as I should say. As for the U18 Male Prep Buffaloes, they are going to be back at home in Pilot Mountain for the first time this season, taking on South Alberta Hockey Academy Friday night, Edge School on Saturday morning, and Calgary International Hockey Academy on noon on Monday next week. All games can be seen on Flow Sports, on Flow Hockey, if you're watching this podcast and you're from within the Pilot Mountain region close to that. Be sure to head down to the rink and check out those Buffaloes who will be in action. Speaking of news from around the academy, we're going to get into that in just a moment here, but before we do that, we're going to send it to a commercial break on this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, The Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. And welcome back to this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Just got a new tripod. Been trying to set it up as we got a busy day ahead of us. Going to be down at the Hockey for All Center for a high school hockey league matchup in the Winnipeg High School Hockey League between John Taylor Pipers and the Lorette Scorpions. Should be a lot of fun. Can't wait for it. And yeah, this episode's been a lot of fun, getting to be joined by multiple guests in this episode. Thanks to Gordie Tumilson, as well as Anthony Florentino, Hector Kapitanov, and as well as Nolan Harding for joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Thank you to their sponsors and partners as well for supporting this episode, as well as Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Terrico, Goaltenders, Movement Fitness and Performance, and Elite Prospects. Before we let you all go, though, we're going to get into some news from around the academy, as we start off with Get to Know a Buffalo. New ones will be released shortly this week, I'm sure, but yeah, this is from last week. Oliver Helson from the U15 program, as well as Caden Doyle from the U17s being featured, Max Schutz from the U18 program, and then Lauren Nichaporik from the U18 female Buffalo squad. And yeah, just to give you a recap, you can see it on the screen on what Get to Know a Buffalo composes of, what's involved in this. It's just simply 5 questions that are answered by these players for you to get to know them a bit better outside of just watching them play hockey, if you have a chance to do that this year. So yeah, special thanks to Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy for being able to do this. I think it's an awesome thing they do on social media, being able to showcase their product in a simple way like that. I guess not their product, but their teams, as I should say. In terms of this past weekend, though, for Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, forgot to put up the video, but their photographer, their video guy, shout out to Andre or Andrew, whatever he may go by, but he's originally from Ukraine. He moved over to Pilot Mound a few years ago, and he's just done fantastic work ever since he's become the videographer down here for this team. And yeah, he put together a really cool video, as those who ended up staying in Pilot Mound didn't go home for Thanksgiving weekend. They had a chance to go out and do some bowling out in Winkler, Manitoba. Video is up on Pilot Mound Hockey Academy's Instagram account, PM Buffaloes, under their Reels section. And yeah, just great to see some great team bonding going on, being able to be together on a day where there's a lot to be thankful for on Thanksgiving. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. To all of our Canadian viewers out there, if you are watching this, I know for our American viewers, Thanksgiving isn't coming until next month, as their Thanksgiving is always later than ours down here. But yeah, thankful. And I know we're 2 days removed from Thanksgiving, but just want to say thankful for everyone that tunes into this podcast and the guests that we have on it. And just being able to do this is a lot of fun. So that's one of the things I'm thankful for, as well as everything else we got here going on the G Show Productions Network. And of course, all 4 teams in the academy are going to be in action again this week coming up for the U15s and U18 Female Prep Buffaloes. Looking to at least get in the win column. I'm thinking that would be one of the goals. But as me and Gordie Tumilson always talk about it, it's not about as much of the wins and the losses as it is in terms of seeing that development from those individual players, for them to, continue to get better and improve, and hopefully, the work that the individuals put in here in Pilot Mound Hockey Academy is able to translate into some more team success moving forward. That's definitely what the U18 Female Prep Buffaloes and U15s are going to be looking for this upcoming weekend, as once again we'll show you the upcoming schedules. As the U15s, they get going right away tonight at 7 p.m. down at home at Blackjack Stewart Arena, taking the ice again, of course, on Saturday to face off against the very same team. For the male U17s, they play a back-to-back against the Indigenous Sports Academy down at Canlin Sports Agri-Place in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan this weekend. As for the male U18 Prep Buffaloes, looking to keep that winning train rolling, as I think they're just looking for 3 solid efforts this weekend coming up to see what they can do against 3 quality programs in their home opener, and their 3 home games, of course, coming up. And as for the female U18 Prep Buffaloes, they'll be down in Oak Bluff, Manitoba to face off against RHA Winnipeg at the Rink Training Center. Be sure to check out all the matchups on Flow Sports if you have a subscription there. If you haven't subscribed, think about doing so if you want to check out the Buffaloes when you're unable to make it into the rink to see their games. But as for myself, Graeme the G Show Forsyth, it's been a blast here as always on this Tuesday afternoon, or on this Wednesday afternoon, as I should say. Look at that, I'm a day behind already. But we'll see you again next week, Buffaloes Nation, for episode 6 in season 3. It's myself, Graeme Forsyth, like I said, giving you the peace out and waving so long, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your week, a safe and great weekend as well. Enjoy all the hockey coming your way, Buffaloes Nation. And as always, Tyson Unruh, Juno Award winner, will leave us off with his March of the Buffaloes theme. Take care, everybody.